Well, praise the Lord, saints. This is the very last day of 2024. So I want to encourage you, and I also want to to spark something within you to not allow the coming year to be like previous years. Too many times our years have come and go the same way. We go into the year depressed, we come out of the year depressed. We go into the next year broke, we come out of the next year broke. We go into the next year not fasting, not praying. We go into the next year not fasting and praying. We go into one year not focused, come out of the year focused. Because everything that we're doing, it seems to be a rhythm, a pattern, no change. Well, we need to break that cycle. How do we break that cycle? It starts within yourself. What is in you that desires to do better? Do you have a desire to do better? Do you have a desire to see better, to be better, to want better, to want more? What about being closer to God? Is that one of your goals? One of your visions? Is that your focus? Because it should be. So as you reflect on the years past and you see how things did not go the way you wanted them to go, then let's start by making up our mind to make a change. 2025 needs to be much different from previous years. Now, how do we do that? You say, how do we do that, prophetess, when I've got bills upon me? I got family issues. How do we do that? When I am in a relationship that I know I shouldn't be in. How do I do that, prophetess? How do I focus? I want to tell you how you focus. Let's look at the story of the disciples. When Jesus had told the disciples, after he had fed over 5,000 people, he told them to get into the boat and go to the other side. Right? Remember this story? So the disciples did that. They went and got in the boat and went to the other side. But Jesus, he didn't go with them. Where was he? He went and prayed alone to the Father. You see, Jesus, he's God, but he still knew he needed to get alone and pray. And sometimes we need to get alone and pray too, right? It's hard for us to hear when our minds are always cluttered. People are always pulling on us for this and that. It's called life. But did Jesus do life even in the midst of everything else that he was sent to do? Yes, he did. So now the disciples have gone on in the boat and they went to the other side. And they now see Jesus. He's walking over. It's in the early morning hours. And to him, they think that he's a ghost because they ask him, who is that? Is that a ghost? And Jesus responded and said, no, it is I. Now, there are 12 disciples in this boat. 12 disciples that have just watched Jesus feed over 5,000 people with a few loaves of bread and a few fish. So these disciples, they knew what Jesus was capable of doing, right? Now they're spending time with him and they saw more than just this one miracle. They've seen several miracles performed by Jesus. So you would think that their faith would be much greater than where it was, right? Same with us. The Lord takes us and carries us through one thing after the other, but yet still our faith is weak. What else do you need him to do to show you that he's God? Okay, so Peter, the apostle Peter, when Jesus said, it is I, he said, Lord, if it is you, then bid me to come out into the water. What did Jesus say? Come on. Come on out here. So Jesus, Peter, went on out there. Now, the other disciples, I'm sure, were looking at Peter like he had lost his mind, but not so. You see, while they were sitting back there being judgmental and critical and doubtful, Peter had enough faith to get out there and walk towards Jesus on the water. And he was walking on the water until what happened? Until he took his eyes off of Jesus and he looked at the boisterous water, the winds and everything. He looked at how the waters were looking like they were going to consume him. But you see, the waters were already in a little bit of an uproar before Peter looked at the water. The whole time that he was looking at Jesus, he was walking towards Jesus on the water. It is only until and when he took his eyes off of Jesus and looked at his situation, he began to sink. You see, when you and I take our eyes off of Jesus and we look at what we're going through, we start to sink. So what does it say? That when we start out with faith, let's end up with faith. You see, if Peter had to continue to look at God and continue to use his faith to go to get to Jesus, he would have walked all the way over to Jesus, and Jesus would not have had to stretch out his hand and grab him. Because you see, Peter at least had enough sense to know, Jesus, save me. He knew he was going to sink. And what did Jesus do? What does he always do? He always comes to our rescue, even with our lack of faith. So I want to encourage you today to walk into this new year right. You don't know how? You just walk. You just walk. Trials, just walk. Put one foot in front of the other and just walk. God does not expect you to walk alone. He is with you. Just walk. Do what Peter did. Just walk. Don't look at the situation. You pray about the situation. Give it to Jesus and leave it there. Just walk in this new year. And slowly, this old year is leaving us. What is it? It's already after 1. Just a little while. And we're going to be in 2025. Make up your mind that this is going to be your best year ever. Make up in your mind that you're going to keep your eyes on Jesus and take them off of your situation. You're doing too much meditating on the situation and not enough meditating on what God can do about the situation.